Hello, Phil Conrad for Computer Science 156. This is the final in the series of videos about creating the back-end CRUD operations in Spring Boot. We're going to start by looking at our Kanban board. So I will share my screen and we'll get the Zoom controls out of the way and go to the Kanban board. This is the issue that we're working on, adding the delete endpoint for a specific record in the commit table. We are building off of the branch that was in the previous issue, 54. Note that you don't always build a branch off of a previous branch. You only do that if the functionality depends on the previous functionality. And to be honest, delete doesn't really depend on put. They're independent, but it'll be a little cleaner if we do it this way. I do want to caution you that when we get to the legacy code project, when you are working on features that are completely independent of one another, you really do want to start from the main branch each time. You only want to build a branch off of another branch if it really is connected to that same functionality. But in this case, it is. So we will go to the pull request. Pull request is linked to the issue, and we can see that that is the branch that we want to build off of. So let's go over here. Let's go into our repo, 156F24 team01 staff. And first thing we want to do is, since we have done some work on other computers, we want to do a get fetch origin to update all of the local branch pointers. Otherwise, it won't even know about this branch. You see where it says new branch, PC put for commit table? That is, in fact, the branch that we want to check out. And if we had not done this get fetch origin, we would have tried to do get checkout, PC put for commit table, and it would have said, I don't know what you're talking about. No such branch. Get fetch origin, fetching from the origin, which is GitHub, all of the branch information is what allows my local repo to know about this branch. All right, so now that we've got that, we're going to get checkout -b PC delete for commit table, because that's what we're doing. We're creating the delete endpoint, and we'll bring this up in VS Code. And we want the commits controller, and so we'll bring that over here. We're going to need the commits controller tests later, and we'll need the UCSB dates controller tests later. But in this case, what we want, what's that controller? Oh yeah, that's the abstract class controller test case. We don't need that right now, but we do want to bring up the UCSB dates controller so that we can find the delete endpoint. Here it is. And we're going to copy that. Oops. Let's try that again. Copy that. And we're going to put that in our commits controller here at the end. And now we want to update this. Shift Option F on Mac is how I reformat the code. We want to update this for a commit. So delete a commit. Param ID, the ID of the commit to delete. A message indicating the commit was deleted. Delete a commit. We're going to authorize this only for admins. The delete mapping, we don't need anything in here because we're just going to use API commits as our endpoint with an ID parameter and the HTTP method delete. And that's this delete mapping here. That will bring it up in Swagger as a delete endpoint. ID is correct. UCSB date, nope, it's a commit that we're going to delete. We're going to look up the commit in the commit repository, finding it by its ID. If it's not found, we're going to throw an entity not found exception, and we want that entity not found exception to be parameterized with the commit class so that we get the correct error message. Then we're going to delete it. So if it exists, we will delete it from the commit repository, and we'll return the generic message that the commit with ID %s was deleted, and there it is. So And we format that with the ID. And I think we are probably good to go here. So let's try it on localhost, Maven, Spring Boot run. And we will cd into front end in our other window, nvm use 2017.0, npm start. Give it a moment, go to localhost 8080, log in, and go to Swagger. Let's see if we have any commits. We'll get all of the commits. And there are a couple of commits. So let's try deleting number 2. So we'll go to the delete endpoint. We'll put in number 2, execute, commit with ID2 deleted. Let's try deleting it a second time. Commit with ID2 not found. That's what we want to see. We'll put in a crazy number like 7. Commit with ID 7 not found. Looks like we're good to go. And if we come back over here and do a get all again, we can see that in fact commit number 2 is gone. So appears to be working. Now we can come over and do a commit, get status, get add, get status, get commit -m, PC, add, delete endpoint to commits controller. Tests will be in the next commit. And we'll go ahead and push this, get push origin PC delete for commit table. It's probably better practice to go ahead and put the tests in the same commit. But the reason I'm doing this is I want to go ahead and deploy this on Doku. But I am going to go ahead and create a draft pull request. It'll be a draft pull request because we don't have the tests in for this yet. In this PR, we add the delete endpoint for the commit table. And let's see, do we still have it up here on Swagger? We do. So I'll go ahead and open. Oh, that's Dining Commons. That's not the one we want. We want commits. Here's delete for commits. And so I will open that up and take that and paste it in. And there it is. If we preview it, we can see that's what it looks like. And I'm going to create a draft pull request because I know that it's not going to pass the tests yet. But I'll go ahead and put it in. So we have a pull request, and now we can go to Doku, SSH, Cecil, P. Conrad at Cecil, CSU, CSB@edu, and SSH to Doku 0. In my case, in your case, it'll be your Doku for your team number. And we'll do a get Doku get sync. Let's see, it's team01 dev pconrad1, and our URL is github.com ucsb cs156f24 team01 staff. And the branch that we want is this branch, PC delete for commit table. All right, so we will get the new branch, and we see it did come over. It does know about this branch. There it is right there, PC delete for commit table. So now Doku PS rebuild team01 dev pconrad1. Get that building. And while that is building, we will write our tests. So for the tests, we will go to the UCSB dates controller tests. And we're looking for the tests that say mock MVC perform delete. So we'll just do a search on perform delete and no results. What? That doesn't seem right. Let's just look for delete. Admin can delete a date. Ah, I see the problem. Perform date. It's on two different lines. So that's why it couldn't find it. But delete, there we have this. And I think that's one test. And here's the other test. Typically, there are two of these. One for when the date exists and one for when the date does not exist. So we'll grab those two. We'll go to our commit controller tests, scroll to the bottom, paste these in, and admin can delete a commit. We're arranging here by the old test set up a UCSB date. We want to set up a commit. So let's find, looks like here is some code that sets up a commit. So we will set up a commit instead. And then we're going to say when we look for this, we want to return that commit. So we're going to look for that in the commit repository. We want to make sure this 15L matches the 15 that's in our delete, and that that matches the URL. And commit repository, commit repository. What these lines are doing is saying that we expect that if all is correct in our implementation, we will be looking in the commit repository for a record, finding it by its ID with 15L, L for long, and we will delete something. Now, this any is a little bit more, well, actually, yeah, if we wanted to be a little bit more precise, we could say that we are really looking specifically for a delete with a parameter that is equal to commit one. That is probably a better way of writing that test. Delete any is a little loose. Anything could be deleted and the test would pass. This is a little more precise. So we'll go with that. But if we want, no, actually, I think that will work. That will work. Yeah, I think that will work. We'll find out. The way you can tell is you look at this and you say, is the commit going to be that one? And it is. It's going to be whatever is returned by this find by ID. And since we set up the test to return that specific commit, that should be exactly the one that's deleted. All right, so now we have this, and we are looking for a map here, and we want the message to be that the commit with ID 15 was deleted. So that should work. Let's go ahead and comment out our other test for a moment so that we can run this first test. And we'll come back over here and we'll do Maven test minus D test equals commits controller tests. Make sure, is it commit or, yeah, commits controller tests. That is what we want. So we'll run that. It'll run only the tests from that one file. And hopefully they all pass, and they do all pass. So now we can tackle this one. So let's uncomment it, command / admin tries to delete a non-existent commit and gets the right error message. These method names are typically an English description of what the test, what situation the test is testing. So they tend to be long in snake case. What we want is that when we look up a commit in the commit repository, in this case, we're looking by ID 15, we want it to not be found. And an optional empty is how you signify, or rather, how the database layer signifies that it was not found. So that's what we're going to mock in our mock commit repository. We are performing a delete on API commits on 15, and we expect it to be not found. We're going to verify that the commit repository did look up 15, And then we're going to look at the response, the message that we get back. Commit with ID 15 not found. That's our test. Let's run the tests again. We should have 13 tests now instead of 12, and they should all pass. And indeed, that is what we get. So we are now ready to do a get add, get status, get commit minus m, pc add test, tests for delete endpoint in commits controller, get push origin, pc delete for commit table. Oops, an extra square bracket there. Get rid of that. And now we hopefully have a real pull request. So let us go back to our repo. Let's see, I think this is the pull request from before. Here is our draft pull request. We will change it, mark it as ready for review, and it is running through all the tests. So in just a moment, hopefully it will be green. And when it is green, and only when it is green, we will go to our Kanban board and we'll drag it over to end review. So let's come back over here, and the checks are running. It may take 5 or 10 minutes for these checks to finish. The one that takes the longest is the Java mutation testing. So I'm going to pause the video while we wait for the checks to finish, and hopefully they will all be green. If not, we will fix whatever's wrong. But if they are green, then we will take care of the Kanban board. So we'll pause the video for just a moment. All right, all checks have passed. So we are ready to go over here to our Kanban board. And we want to make sure that, oops, actually, no, we want to go to our pull request rather. So let's go back. One easy way to get back to the repo is click on any of the issues, and then you can click here to get back to the repo. And we want to go to our pull request. One thing we forgot to do on this pull request is link it to the issue. So we will type closes number, and it is the delete endpoint. That is number 55. So number 55, add delete endpoint, update comment. So now our pull request is linked to the issue. It doesn't show here yet, but in fact, there it is. Okay, it'll show up in a minute. It seems to be a little bug in GitHub where this doesn't show up right away. But if we go to the issue, now we can see the issue is linked to the pull request. And if we click on the pull request, it is now linked to the issue. So that seems to fix whatever that bug is that doesn't show it immediately. So now the issue and the pull request are linked. So we'll go to our project, which is also known as the Kanban board, drag this to in review, and we have now completed all of the issues for this particular table. So if I were doing this as part of a team, at this point, my responsibility on the team would be to look at the other folks' pull requests, like create database for recommendation requests and so forth, and work on getting these code reviewed so that I can help the team get everything into the done column, as well as checking in with team members who have things still in to do to see if they need help. But that is essentially what you need to know in order to get through all of the 6 issues for a particular database table for building the back end of a Spring Boot application that does CRUD operations. Hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.